Week 11. Can't believe we're here already. We've had 2 international breaks. We've got another one coming up very soon. But before we do have this, the nice thing I always like to think about Game Week 11 is if you look at the data, it takes normally 10 or so game weeks for the sort of expected goals and all of that to even out, and you can actually get a better idea of what the Premier League's going to look like. Players that are going to be in form, we obviously know there's been quite a few so far this season, some surprises, obviously Pedro Neto, etc. But here we're going to look at this game week 11 and tell you who to start and who to sit. First game, 12:30, my beloved Fulham against Manchester United. Had some horror shows there last season, but Manchester United right now are a team very much struggling in form. 32% chance of them getting a clean sheet. Fulham 22% chance, which is quite high considering that we're away at Old Trafford. But I back my man Alex Iwobi. He did start over Andreas Pereira last weekend. Midweek, both these teams played yesterday on Wednesday. Fulham put very much a second choice team out, and Andreas Pereira was starting in that game, and Iwobi came off the bench, which makes me think Alex Iwobi may be taking over as the main man, which I think would probably mean if you want a Fulham asset going forward, I wouldn't go for Iwobi, but I'd look at Willian because it looks like he's going to take over from the set pieces from Andreas Pereira at Fulham. I think 4th or 5th best since the start of last Premier League season at set piece goals. So definitely someone to look to get in. Manchester United at the moment, I wouldn't worry too much if you got your Manchester United assets. I'd very much hold on to them because it's going to be the lowest of the lows right now for them. You'd be looking at Hodgson, you're looking at Rashford, Bruno. You still start all of them probably. I mean, if you want, you could go near the defenders. Reguilon played midweek. Don't know if Harry Maguire will be starting. He did midweek and he was few errors, but we will see. Varane is obviously back fit, so we'll see if he comes straight back into the team. The next game to talk about, Brentford versus West Ham. Brentford 31% chance of a clean sheet. West Ham 21% chance. Neil Maupay is someone I think needs to just build on his performances at Brentford. He's had 2 assists already in the last 2 games. I talked about him in the top 5 pickups. I think this is going to be a pretty tough game. West Ham obviously beating Arsenal 3-1 midweek, but that does mean Brentford have had a few more days rest compared to them. So we'll see if that works in their favour. Obviously, Brentford at home are always very, very tough as well for teams to break down. I like their defensive assets. Brentford at home, I'd be happy probably starting their defensive assets. West Ham, I think you're looking at Bowen. Kudus starting in the number 10 role. See, if Souček comes back, but I think Kudus will probably start there again this weekend. The next game, Burnley versus Crystal Palace. Burnley 32% chance of a clean sheet. Crystal Palace 33% chance. It's looking like a 0-0 here, guys. But you say that, but Lyle Foster for Burnley, if you're looking for a forward to start in this game, I think he'd be the forward I'd most be excited about. I put Mark Guehi down here. I transferred him last week before the Spurs game. Kept him on the bench, stashed him because Palace have some unbelievable fixtures coming up, starting off with this Burnley away. So I'm hoping for a clean sheet for Palace. I think they should be able to achieve it. The ongoing debate, is it Mateta? Is it Edouard starting up top? I still back Mateta personally. Edouard had an amazing start to the season, but then he did drop off majorly. Should be noted, Jordan Ayew actually signed a new contract at Crystal Palace, so he's definitely someone. I know a few people have him, or maybe if you're looking to get someone in, could definitely be someone to get in. Eze also returns from injury, not this game week, but game week after. Everton versus Brighton is the next game. Everton 20% chance of a clean sheet, Brighton 26% chance. Another game where Everton had a fantastic win midweek in the EFL Cup, but will that hinder them? Brighton have had a full week off. I'm looking at James Tarkowski, maybe a set-piece goal in this. Everton just keep it tight, keep it strong at the back, and maybe they can nick something in this game. But for Brighton, you know who the main people are. Realistically, we're going to be looking at your sort of João Pedro, your Adingra, who's been starting instead of Solly March. Obviously, Matoma. Pascal Gross is someone that we need to talk about for Brighton. One of the most creative players in the league. And definitely, if he's available or maybe trade for him, I definitely would. Pascal Gross, I think, is one of the most underrated players when it comes to FPL. The next game, Man City versus Bournemouth. Man City, 58% chance of a clean sheet. John Stones back fit. And obviously, He's so versatile, being able to step into that midfield and down as a defender. Bournemouth, 5% chance. Look, start everybody at City, sit everybody at Bournemouth. It is as simple as that. Obviously, there's the pep roulette. Not everybody will start, but if you've got a chance of them even coming off the bench, definitely going to be looking to get some points. The next game, Sheffield United versus Wolves. Should be a pretty close one. Sheffield United, 22% chance of a clean sheet. Wolves, 35% chance. As I mentioned, Pedro Neto been absolutely amazing. I don't see this stopping. Sheffield United have had it pretty rough at the start of the season, only getting 1 point so far. They need home to be a fortress. Wolves, obviously one of the lesser teams, especially when it comes to up front. Maybe they'll be able to contain them, but we will have to see. Ollie McBurney out injured for Sheffield United as well. So you're looking at your Pedro Neto, your Hwang, your Cunha. Start all of them, and I'd probably even go as far to say start some Wolves defenders. Realistically, Sheffield United, you want to be going nowhere near any of their players. Maybe the goalkeeper. That's about it, just for the save, extra points and potential of a clean sheet. Next game, Newcastle versus Arsenal. Very, very different fortunes midweek. Obviously, Newcastle having a very good game. Arsenal losing 3-1. 27% chance of a clean sheet for Newcastle, 29%. Wouldn't really be looking at your defenders. Well, I say that. I feel like these two teams, though, you realistically are going to be starting everyone. Interesting one, I think, to look at is if Kai Havertz is going to be starting this game for Arsenal. Is it going to be Fabio Vieira? Is it going to be Jorginho alongside Declan Rice and Odegaard? Obviously, Anthony Gordon, I've got down here. He's been phenomenal for Newcastle playing on that left wing. He got a rest midweek where Lewis Hall started up top there. Obviously, there was an injury then to Matt Targett, so Hall dropped back to left back, and then Miggy Almiron came on at left wing, giving Gordon just a complete rest, which is good to see from an FPL standpoint. So yeah, I'd be pretty happy starting most of your Newcastle assets. Arsenal, if you can drop the defenders, like I've got Gabriel in my team, I'm going to see if I can not start him in this game. But I wouldn't drop them completely out of squad, maybe just sit them for this game. The next game to talk about, Nottingham Forest versus Aston Villa. Forest, 18% chance of a clean sheet. Aston Villa, 35%. Ollie Watkins, gone quiet. What is this? He didn't get any points. No, I'm joking. He's been absolutely phenomenal this season. And I expect it to carry on. Forest at home is always very, very tricky. We're looking at Awani returning as well, I think, soon for Nottingham Forest. So that is an added threat for them. Obviously, Elanga, I think, is back fit, should be noted. Obviously, Morgan Gibbs White as well. Aston Villa have been just doing so well this season. I'd look to start all your Aston Villa assets, all defence. Douglas Luiz should be noted in midfield if he's available. John McGinn, DRB, Ollie Watkins, all phenomenal players. But for Forest, if you did get in Chris Wood, it looks like that sort of hype may be coming to an end pretty soon, sadly. The next game, Luton Town versus Liverpool. Luton, really tough, 7% chance of a clean sheet. Liverpool, 46% chance of a clean sheet. Sitting everybody from Luton, actually, let's say Morris. We'll start Morris up top because forwards are so tricky to come by. If you're in a bit of a deep league, you probably need to start Morris up top. If not, Liverpool, you're obviously starting everybody. Tsimikas going to be starting at left back. It'll probably be Tsimikas, Virgil van Dijk, Konate, and Trent Alexander-Arnold, I would expect, back four. Ryan Gravenberch is a very interesting person for Liverpool that we need to discuss. He is a player I've really liked the look of for years, and I think he's been very good this season. I expect him to start in the midfield, and he can nick a goal as well. Darwin Núñez scored an absolute worldie midweek and did get a bit of a rest. And so did Cody Gakpo. He also scored. So good for Liverpool, both of those assets on the score sheet midweek, meaning they should hopefully have a bit of form going into this weekend. And the final game on Super Sunday, Tottenham versus Chelsea. London derby, 29% chance of a clean sheet for Tottenham, 21% chance of a clean sheet for Chelsea. Chelsea obviously very good defensively. Spurs very good offensively. Son already with 8 goals this season. Can Spurs keep their unbeaten run and stay top of the table against Chelsea? I think it's going to be a tough one. Pochettino seems to be really getting stuck into his players now. I think he's had a bit of time. He's slowly turning the tide at Chelsea. I feel that it's going that way. Obviously, they had a bit of heartbreak against Arsenal not too long ago, but they're through into the next round of the EFL Cup. They got a good, solid win midweek. So I wouldn't be surprised if they manage to at least keep Tottenham at arm's length. But I would be looking to start pretty much everybody at Spurs. From a Chelsea standpoint, realistically, I think you probably... Sterling, he got on the score sheet midweek. I'd be looking at him. Someone I've been looking at actually a lot for Chelsea at the moment is Conor Gallagher. Been very tempted to get him in. I've not pulled the trigger on that yet because from memory, I don't think they've got great fixtures coming up. But definitely someone to look out for. Anyway, guys, as always, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like. Give me a comment down below on any players or teams that you want me to specifically discuss in this upcoming game week. And give us a subscribe. I did a top 5 draft FPL pickups earlier this week. They come out every week. And this obviously starts sit preview episode as well. Cheers, guys. Win your game weeks.